Meanwhile, around 160 South Koreans are back from a trip to the north where they celebrated the 11th anniversary of the October 4th Joint Declaration signed in 2007. It was the first time the two sides have commemorated the document together. Our Park Hee-jun has the highlights of their three-day trip.
The South Korean delegates' trip was to commemorate the 11th anniversary of the October 4th Joint Declaration, signed by the late former leaders of the two Koreas, Moo-hyun and Jong-il, during their summit in 2007. Celebrating the anniversary together for the first time was something agreed upon in the Pyeongyang Joint Declaration signed last month by President Moon Jae-in and Chairman Kim Jong-un. The joint event was held Friday morning at the People's Culture Palace. In a joint letter, the two sides called for further efforts to carry out the agreements signed by Moon and Kim, and to work together to establish peace and denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula.
For the two Koreas to survive, we must implement the Panmunjom Declaration and the Pyeongyang Declaration. I say this to emphasize the importance of achieving the agreements in the declarations.
Meetings were also held on the sidelines between government officials, politicians, civic, cultural, and religious figures to allow exchanges in each of their respective fields. Those included a high-level meeting led by Seoul's Unification Minister Cho Myung-gyun and his North Korean counterpart Lee Sun-kwon, in which the two Koreas discussed ways to implement the Pyeongyang Declaration, which calls for boosting inter-Korean cooperation in areas such as railroads and forestry. And on the last day of their trip, they stopped by the botanical gardens, where there's a pine tree planted by Moo-hyun and the North Korea ceremonial leader Kim Yong-nam back in 2007. No's son No was also there.
Trust will be built as we continue to fulfill our promises. I thank the North Koreans for having taken such good care of this pine tree for all these years.
After wrapping up their three-day trip to the north, the South Korean delegation returned to Seoul on Saturday evening. Park Hee-jun, Arirang News.